I always thought I was a disappointment. And so everything I did was like, oh, I just want to make Dad proud.
Casey Laulala, Canterbury.
We made the All Blacks, and wow, that was pretty cool. A lot of emotions went through my head because you think, oh, the journey of from coming from Samoa and going to boarding school and then trying to please the old man, make him proud, and hopefully this is it.
Yeah.
He finally said, proud of you, son. And still remember the first time he said, love you, son. Getting really emotional because like,
what a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
Oh, what a lad. Well, today I'm lucky enough to be joined by just that, one of the greatest and friendliest lads there is. He started off as a county stealer before heading down south, where he became a key member of the Canterbury side and the Crusaders during their success. He even reached the pinnacle of becoming an All Black before heading offshore and having a very successful career overseas with Cardiff, Munster and Racing Metro. Now he's one of the best real estate agents in the country, and of course he is a massive, massive lad. It is the great Casey Laulala. Welcome, mate.
wow, what an introduction. Thank you. I was, real honored to be here, and obviously we chat. The fat, and I was thinking, when will I be here? But then I got the call last week, so you're real privileged to be here,
mate. I'm excited to have you on. Like I said, you're always so sort of friendly and approachable. Like, I don't even know when we first sort of met, but every time I've met you, I felt like I've sort of known you for ages, and you've just got this real sort of warm, welcoming nature in you.
Yeah, well, really appreciate that. I think it's just it's not a hard thing to do, really. It's it goes a long way for a lot of people as well, and it reflects where you're at as well as a person, and simple hello, hi, and obviously just being in the rugby culture, that's how we are anyway. Yeah, obviously it's very different once we step on that field, but other than that, just be nice and say hello.
Yeah, it's not that hard, eh?
No, it's not that hard at all. And I think most of us anyway are like that.
Yeah.
I can say the same thing for you as well. So, no, it's good. It's good to be here.
Oh, I'm looking forward to getting through your journey because it is one of the greats. And I didn't realise that Nepo was your brother up until the other day doing a little bit of research on you. I never put you two as brothers. I always thought you might have been related somewhere down the line, but never as actual brothers. Yeah,
he's my blood brother, and obviously I'm the oldest in the family of 7. Yeah, and Nepo is second from the bottom. And again, I left Samoa when I was about 14. Went to boarding school up in Wesley College. Yeah. So again, it didn't sort of divide us because we were very, very close. Dad was a pilot, and now we get to spend a lot of time together especially when he's home. Yeah. But it's
cool.
It was my bro.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in Samoa? 15 years of your life. What's it actually like growing up over there?
It's awesome. I mean, life is very, very simple. I think people see it like there are not many. People don't have much there, but you don't need much to live over there as well anyway. It was challenging at times because Dad was really pushing and really, really hard. But again, looking back now, you really appreciate those moments with the old man and the family. But other than that, they worked really, really hard. Spent a lot of time in the village as well because we were living in town, and Dad was flying and Mum was working full-time as well. And
what was your dad flying for? What?
Well, at that time, it was called Polynesian Airline.
Oh, he was a pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, true.
And, so he was flying, doing the Australasian fleet. And, so he was always always flying. And obviously, we spent a lot of time in the village, and obviously, jandals, throwing the ball around. We were always outside, so no, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
And what was, when you say your dad was pushing, like, was that in terms of sport? Was that school? Was that just everything? Just
everything. Yeah. Because at that time, I wasn't good at sports. I was not good at all. And so he was pushing me more into doing my schoolwork, the academic side of things, and didn't quite get to his level. But, one thing I did see, and this is the question that we ask the boys now is like, what does that look like? For me, I saw my parents working hard, and I think everyone can relate to that I just saw them working hard, and I think that's one of the things that I try and teach my kids now, and I still, have that work ethic to try and make something out of yourself.
Yeah, that's cool. And when you say you weren't good at sport, that must be an exaggeration. You always looked as a naturally gifted athlete coming out of school for counties, but are you saying when you were young, you didn't have that sort of talent with the ball or anything?
No, not really. I mean, obviously, looking back now, I've always had sort of good footwork.
Yeah.
I ended up playing a lot of tennis and no rugby at all. So I was full-time tennis, loved tennis.
What age is that?
I think it was about 10 till 13.
Oh, yeah.
Even when I came to New Zealand, I was full-on tennis player.
Right.
Yeah. Pretty crazy for Samoa today, for an island dude. But yeah, I mean, I learned how hard it was being a tennis player because I can relate, and because such a individual sport where if you're just trying to get the ball over the net, it falls short, and it's just sitting up for the opposition to hit it early and put it away. So. And just the emotional side of things where you're looking for answers, but you got no one to turn to. You gotta trust your skills, but then when you try too hard, you hit the ball, you hit the ball out. So yeah, that was my journey. It was tennis player.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I didn't pick that. So you weren't playing any rugby in Samoa?
I did. I remember played one game and my dad came and watched, and I think my dad was so disappointed. I think I got taken out, and I remember I started, I can still remember the day, and I was thinking we were getting hammered, got taken out, and I was thinking to myself, oh man, this is not going to go well. And got taken out, and from then on I stopped playing rugby and got into tennis. And
True.
But I think that also sprung something in me of wanting to impress Dad as well. Because I always thought I was a disappointment. And so everything I did was I just want to make Dad proud. Yeah. Obviously, you get to a point where you start doing it for yourself and obviously the family. But initially, I just wanted to impress Dad and make him proud.
Yeah, and is that why you stopped playing rugby, because you felt like you were disappointing him?
Not only that, but also I just thought, man, this is not for me. I just I just looked at the guys that I was playing that were grown, they were so much bigger, faster, just had that natural talent, but also I was just manhandled that day, and Dad was there, and I think Dad left before the game anyway.
He'd seen enough.
So that, but I don't know, and I thank him as well, Mum and Dad, for out of nowhere they say, oh, mate, you're going to go to New Zealand, you're going to go to Wesley College. No idea that Jonah went to Wesley College as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I just turned up there in the middle of nowhere, and boarded there, a 7-day border there, and it was so hard for 2 weeks because I was so homesick.
Yeah. Could you speak English?
Barely.
Yeah.
I don't think my English is that good now anyway.
No, your English is on fire now.
So I just sort of, but the option of going back and facing the old man wasn't, that was far from me.
Even scarier.
Yeah, even scarier. So I was like, come on, you can do this. And fair enough, after 2-3 weeks, just loved the place. That's why a lot of the Wesley boys that went there, we hold that place in a very high level because
Yeah.
of what it's done for us anyway. We had a lot of my friends came from South Auckland when it was tough at that time. Some of their stories are pretty inspiring, and being able to, in a safe environment in Wesley, made something out of themselves, and good family men now.
Yeah.
And obviously my journey started from there. Just being in a rugby school, and also this is why it's very important being in the right environment.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I can play rugby. I've always had the footwork, but obviously being in there and being with most of the boys, because we only have 400. The roster there was only 400 and 300 boarders.
Yeah.
So everyone played rugby.
Yeah.
And so again, that environment, you were challenged by some of the South Auckland boys who were naturally big, strong. So yeah, it was and then obviously finding out that Jonah went there as well, and
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And that sort of all that combined together, a fire was burning inside of me. I was like, after a few games, I was getting better and better. And I remember telling the old man, because every school break I'll go back to Samoa, but I told the old man the first sort of 2 years, oh, Dad, I made the counties under 15. And I said, nah, you're coming home. You're coming to do some jobs here, mate. So, yeah, the first two, maybe some of the three in the third year that I didn't stay and play any representative rugby, because the old man said, oh, you're coming home and do some trials, some work. So that was it. Not until I was 18 and obviously there was a northern region. I don't know if it's still on.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
In 12 for the 19s at the time. That's when the old man's like, oh yeah, maybe could be something here for you.
He's not lying.
He's probably thinking of that game that he came and watched earlier. But yeah, I mean, it's when that journey started there, and I just kept making teams after teams.
Yeah.
And but before that, I remember vividly I think I was 16, and I played a couple of games. The first season when I went to Wesley, and I think after a really, really good game, and I was lying in the dormitory, and I was looking up, and I just sprung to me, it's like, you know what, you're going to be an All Black.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I can still remember now exactly where I was, which dorm was in. And from then on, the vision was there, and I just went for it. I was always trying to prove or improve the whole time, making plays, trying to be the standout, but obviously being part of the brothers that I was playing with, and it just kept burning and working hard, and I think that's why it's very important having a vision, knowing what you want, and then putting in the work. It's so easy to put in the work when you know what you want. And that's what happened.
Man, that is so cool.
Yeah.
So going back to when you first went over to Wesley, no scholarship, wasn't a rugby, or obviously wasn't rugby, wasn't a tennis scholarship. It was purely your dad wanting to get you a better education in New Zealand, was it?
I think it was such a disappointment. I think I was such a disappointment to the old man. You're like, man, this guy here is no good here next to me. I think he's better off in New Zealand. So yeah. And
you had no say in that. It was just, here's your ticket, you're going.
Yeah, I think I have no say still now. But I just got on the plane and went to, and I remember that drive from the airport to Wesley. It's quite a drive. Now it's just a lot of houses, but back then it was literally just farmland.
Yeah.
Get off Drury, and then another 20 minutes. I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing. It was purely for school.
Did your other siblings move over and have a New Zealand experience as well, or was it just you?
Just me at the time because I was
The oldest?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
those guys were still very, very young. And later on, they did
Oh, yeah.
come over, but they went to Mags.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think it was too hard for my parents, so they ended up going to boarding school at Wesley.
Oh, okay. Man, it's cool. So then you have your vision, you start training hard, you start making teams.
Yeah.
Straight out of school, you're picked up by counties.
Yeah, and funny enough, my coaches for New Zealand at the time were Ozzy McLean
Oh, yeah.
and Rob Penny.
Oh, true.
So I've known the boys for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And they're the big reasons why Kennedy was part of my journey.
Yeah.
So for some reason, after under 19s and under 21s, I stayed in counties because I knew that I had a better chance of playing NPC straight away. Because at that time, the Crusaders and the Canterbury team was stacked.
Yeah.
Like, I'm talking about like 23, 25 guys in the All Blacks.
Yeah.
And like, it was crazy mad. I was like, so for me, it was like, I'll stay in counties and play NPC straight away. And NPC was tough and so big back then as well, because no one left to go overseas.
Yeah.
Anyway, played for counties. I wasn't supposed to make counties at that time, but they brought me in just for experience and see what it's like playing with men.
Yeah.
And played in the preseason, played so well, and ended up starting the whole
True.
NPC season that year.
Yeah. Were you feeling confident within yourself? Did you know you're good enough?
Yeah, at that time.
You
but,
did.
Obviously, didn't really get much experience. Well, obviously, I was still very, very young to play in the NPC straight away.
Yeah.
But then those pre-seasons gave me even more confidence.
Yeah, cool.
Because I was only just turned 19 as well, and I was playing so well against these really good players that have been playing seasonal players. But even that was such a amazing sort of confidence boost going forward in my career.
Yeah.
And the biggest one was playing against Tana at the Cake Tin.
Yeah.
And Cully, Christian at the back, and Jonah. And,
Jonah had left counties at this point.
Yeah. And we played them in Wellington, and that team was so stacked. And I remember I couldn't sleep the night before because I was 19, and I was just in the dorms watching the boys play. Play Super Rugby and obviously in the All Blacks, and here I am facing them. That was so cool.
Yeah.
But, in the full stadium. Obviously,
how'd you go?
I think I went all right. I
Yeah.
mean, made a couple of arm tackles, don't know, but and got help from the other boys. And but I think it was just, being in the stadium with those boys was such a big boost. And from then on, I was like, if I can play at 19 with like legends of the game, what's holding me back? And I think a lot of that with myself, I play a lot of mind games with myself, challenging myself, with what I say to myself. And I said, man, if you can do that, you can go all the way.
Yeah.
Let's keep pushing here. And so after that season, counties went down, unfortunately, and but Canterbury was still knocking on the door.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just meant to be, I guess. Ozzy and Rob still wanted me to come down. And then I made the switch, and the rest was history. And yeah, red and black through and through.
And how did you find it when you first came down? Was it a big difference to the county's environment?
Yeah, very, very big difference because back then Canterbury was the Crusaders anyway. So the whole setup was different. Being around the All Blacks, which were the Canterbury team at the time, was it was just amazing. But then again, at the same time, realizing and knowing that if you don't turn up every day, you're going to spat out at the other end. And that's what I did. I just kept my head down. I knew what I was good at, and I knew what I was bringing to the table, and I just stuck to that, and managed to cement my spot in the team, and I was there until I left. But you know, I knew it was going to be tough, and it was tough. And but I guess that mind game, I always tell myself, man, not many boys outside of Canterbury and Crusaders come here. So if you get asked to come here, it's such a big thing. So let's go and let's make the most of this opportunity. And at that time, everyone in Samoa loves the Crusaders, and I'm part of it. So it's like, yeah, be proud, but mate, come on, let's go.
Still got work to do. How was your dad at this point? Like, how was he feeling about the whole rugby journey after probably the only game he'd seen was the debut disappointment?
Well, you know, like I think that generation, they keep their cards close to their chest. They don't really show it. You know, but then I hear his friends tell me when I see them, because I was also isolated when I came down here because everyone's up there. But then when I go up there, we play golf with his friends, and you're like, oh man, you don't know, but your dad is so proud of you. It's like, oh man, you're getting really emotional because like he doesn't tell you, but you hear it from other people. So yeah, I say he was proud.
Yeah, that is cool. Because you mentioned coming down here and how hard that would have been not knowing anyone. I know there was never typically a lot of Islanders playing for the Crusaders at that point either. So, and were you living by yourself, or what was your sort of living arrangement?
Yeah, I am proud to say I am the first recipient of the 6 Melbourne Park 6 Melbourne Park address there, and it was so cold. It's funny because now I'm doing real estate, so you know, you know what it's like, and you know what it's made of, and yeah, definitely wasn't at the time. You know, you're just grateful and you're young as well.
Yeah,
you know, I was 20. You're so young. I was so young, so I didn't think much of it. Lived there with Ashley Jones.
Oh yeah.
And obviously Ashley just came back over from league, and I trained so hard with him. I was up 5:30 in the gym at 6, on the bike, weights. I felt like I had to train that much harder when I got down here. But I guess that was the standard, and I think you know this very well. The standard here is so high, and you know that's the culture that we have here, and we don't know anything better. And I was so accustomed to it, and it was fun, because you were winning all the time.
Was that the hardest challenge for you throughout your career? Was to stay fit and make sure you're doing those efforts, or what was the biggest challenge?
It was a challenge at the start, but then you get used to it, and I always try and stay fit then. So I never kind of like went too far away from you know staying in shape, because I knew how hard preseason training was, especially with Ash, because he came over with the league background, and we did some crazy fitness. And, I mean, you look at the itinerary we had for those the first 4 blocks, block. It was really tough. And, you know, one year we did like all that training, the hill runs, and then just to finish off the week, we'll do a 10K run at Bottle Lake.
Shit.
And those sort of,
Yeah. How did you go conditioning wise? Were you middle of the pack, up the front?
No, never
out
at the
back?
front. Yeah, I was always in the middle. Always in the middle. But I was always pushing.
Yeah.
Because when I first came down here, Motsi was he didn't even care whether you're at the front, but he hates people that save it for until the end.
Yeah.
So he always said, just go hard and just hold on. If that means you're at the back, I know that you're working hard, and I just didn't know anything different. You just go hard, you blow out, and then you just hold on.
Just not the last rep where you're sprinting past everyone. One of those guys.
Yeah, one of those. But, and you just get used to it. And when you go overseas and you see that kind of behavior, you're like, you just can't resonate with that. You're like, man, in my head, I'm thinking, imagine if you were at home, you get told off straight away. And but yeah, that was the life I had.
Yeah.
I literally did not do anything because first, if I did, I want to be able to be in shape, because I didn't take my opportunity in Canterbury and the Crusaders lightly. So I just I got to the point where that's all I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, eh?
Yeah, it is. When was the moment you felt comfortable in the side? Obviously, like you said, there was probably like 23 All Blacks in the squad.
Yeah.
You're coming down 20 years old from counties. When do you start feeling like, man, I'm a part of this, I'm in?
You never feel like that. I think that's the culture looks after that.
Yeah.
Where you don't feel comfortable because when you're going to training, you knew that you have to turn up, and so it sort of takes that away from your comfort zone, because I know that your mates will pull you up, and it was such fun but the way Robbie at the time were running everything was that he sort of installed in us that training was the most important part of the week.
Yeah.
And so the game was the easy part of the week. You're just going there to have fun, execute. So it took away that whole part, because we got to training, and it was mostly game-based training. Everything will prime stuff, and it will get straight into games.
Yeah.
And he always tells me, Kes, you gotta keep putting yourself in those situations, because you want to see that one situation in the game in training, so that when that comes or arrives in the game, you just know exactly what to do, and you just execute. And if you do that as well, the game slows down.
Yeah.
Because the big thing is, it's like people always talk, Dan, the game slows down for them. And then it took me a while, and then obviously a light bulb moment where you're like, oh, it makes sense, because the game slows down because they already know what to do before they even got the ball.
Yeah.
So that's why they read the game so well, because they spend most of their time scanning what's going on, and then the game just slows down. And then I just got, because up to that point, because of the way I play the game, I was the guy that go forward for so you lose touch of the feel for the game, of seeing what's around you before you even get the ball. And then when you run those hard lines, those short balls that you already know that was the right option.
Yeah.
So that was the fun part that I came to training, and putting in the work, working a lot on my game in terms of distribution. And Robbie used to have these two nets, those bouncy nets. So
like the catching ones that bounce anywhere.
But this one is like a trampoline size.
Oh, yeah. And
so he had one standing. We had one of those. So he had one standing on my left and one on standing on. So I'll be in the middle just jogging, and all I did was bounce, catch and then just
Oh, yeah.
keep going back and forth. And I got really good at just soft hands in the game and obviously at training.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I love, because rugby was always looking at different ways to improve the game, and obviously individually as well.
Yeah, man, that is cool. That's a cool rugby journey, especially around the slowing down. I love that, how you're seeing the game in advance. And I know you would have got to that point later in your career. Yeah. I don't know, maybe when you're overseas or when you're in the All Blacks, but yeah, that's cool.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
This is like people who make the game look easy.
Yeah.
They make it look easy because they already know what's going to happen before it already happens.
Scanning, yeah, 100%.
And I got to the point where the game became, we had pods then. A lot of people were always looking at where the ball was coming. And I remember one day Robbie used to pull me up and said to the boys, he's like, do you know that the ball is always going to come from that side? It won't just all of a sudden change and coming from the right side. So why are you guys spending time looking at where the ball is coming rather than looking at what's happening in front of you? So when it comes to training, I always remember just always scanning. So I spend all the time just scanning what's happening. I know, there's a tight forward there. His body language is down. I know that I can never go in his space if he turns in. So you start sort of visualizing the game and seeing body languages, and I became so obsessed with that, and I love that side of the game, because the game can be so easy if you do that.
Yeah, I still reckon it's the most underrated part of the game, a skill set that's not probably trained or thought about enough, but the scanning side of it, like you say, it makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, you know this very well.
It's cool to hear it from you.
If you spend most of your time scanning, the game just slows down.
Yeah.
Especially for backs, because they see, because when you're tired, you don't see that they're actual tired forwards in the defensive line.
Yeah.
Because because when you're tired, you're looking at the ball the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's when you come alive. And Robbie used to get really excited. Come on, boys, this is where we get excited. You know, like, when in the 60th minute, this is before forwards became 50-minute.
Yeah.
Before they became 50-minute players, we do now. It's like that last 20 minutes, man, that's when we come alive. And that's why a lot of if you watch a lot of the Crusaders teams in back then, we will score like 20, 30 points in the last 20 minutes, because that's when we come alive. And because also the fact that we were known as such a fit team, that will come in the huddle, we'll look at each other, Richie or Ruben Thorne wouldn't say much. We just look at it, but we knew what we were thinking. We were like, let's take these guys to the well. Let's take these guys to the well.
Yeah,
come on. And that was the feeling that we had in that group.
Yeah,
we just, Robbie would just come in sometimes, and he wouldn't say anything. He would just look at you. You ready? Yeah, let's go, and get up. Yeah. That was the team talk.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Didn't need it. Didn't need a big motivation.
But when you're in the trenches with those boys for so long, you don't need to say much. And like I said, training was the game. Yeah. And we knew exactly what we were supposed to do, and it's good to reminisce a little bit, because like I'm in real estate now, and all I think is
just thinking houses and home loans.
100%. How am I going to get this guy over the line today? It's like, man, it's the market is.
One game I'm keen for you to reminisce on is the 2006 Fog final, the infamous final. You're the only try scorer that night.
Yeah.
What do you remember about it?
That's my claim to fame. I remember it was, we were all this talk before the game that it was going to be postponed, and again, you were just focused on your preparation and just let the top people look after that, and if whether you play or don't play, doesn't really matter. But I remember, it was so, you could not see anyone. They were talking about hovering a helicopter on the top of the stadium to try and just, no word of lie, that all that talk, disperse the cloud, and but again we ended up playing, and it was so tough.
Yeah.
And also knowing that JC was playing on the other side, so
you weren't sure when he was going to pop out.
Well, that was the thing, like, and, you have JC, you have Tana, and then you have Ma'a playing.
Yeah.
Obviously, Chris Masoe was playing as well.
Yeah.
So you have all these guys, and you're like, and you can't see anything. And the last thing, the last people you want to run into are these dudes.
Your scanning's gone out the window too. Your super strength.
Yeah, my superpower's gone out the window. And I was like, Robbie, what do I do now? But yeah, but again, this is the thing you get to when those moments, you just switch this thing off.
Yeah.
I'll tell the story. So every game, we'll go out and play. We'll sit in our lockers and at J Stadium at the time, and I would sit there and I always look at Richie, look at him, and I was like, man, this guy is going to lay everything on the line for this team. And I know he'll come out of the game, cuts everywhere, blood, and like, what gives me the right not to do the same?
Yeah.
It was so powerful, like for me anyway. And this goes back to my storytelling in my own head, and that's how I got myself to that point. You're like, man, this guy here would do everything, and then I would go, take a deep breath. You're like, okay, let's go. You are not going to listen to your body today, and you're going to go out there, and if you get stretched out, you get stretched out, and whatever you do, lights out. You just go for it, and that was the motivation, because you see Richie putting his body on the line every single time.
That's so powerful, man.
It is so.
It's leadership at its best.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing, and that's how I rolled back then, and I think that's why I'm so glad I can walk now, because of the concussions and the injury that came out of, just because you see what it looks like for someone laying their body on the line, and you follow a leader like that, and yeah.
Yeah. You had a few injuries, eh? Like, I remember broken arm maybe 1 or 2 times, was it?
Yeah, 3 times.
3 times, yeah, far out.
Yeah.
The old swinging arm.
Swinging arm. But again, it's some rugby, at times, like, it doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
But it's just everything happening in the right moment. And yeah, it just snapped in half.
Yeah.
The last time I broke my arm before I left, I think that was the icing on the cake for me going overseas, was when I broke my arm in 2009. I fended one of the Bulls boys.
Oh, yeah.
Went on a cut, and he came, and I went and fended him, and it snapped. And I think,
Same one.
Yeah, same one. And I was thinking, it's all right, but it was bending in.
Oh.
And I was saying, it should be okay. And I kept on playing for another 10, 15 minutes. Yeah.
Tough.
I don't think it's tough. I think it was stupid. I think it was stupid. But again, I think it's tough in that way because again, you realize if you go out, you're letting the boys down. If you stay on, you're not doing what's best for the team. And I know that everything that we do, the team always comes first. And, but thankfully, made it to halftime.
And got assessed and taken off very quickly.
Yeah.
And what about your All Blacks debut and like how you made the All Blacks? Was that after the 2006 final? Or was it before
2004.
2004.
NPC final up in Wellington.
Oh, true.
Yeah, so went up to Wellington. We had a stacked team as well. I mean, the Wellington team were just full of the Hurricanes boys. And obviously with the Crusaders, so pretty much the Crusaders against the Hurricanes boys. And we went up there and beat them up there. But that season was unbelievable for me. I played so well all season and made the All Blacks. And wow, that was pretty cool. I don't know what the old man was thinking at the time, but I didn't know what he was thinking. But yeah, a lot of emotions went through my head because you think, the journey of from coming from Samoa and going to boarding school and then trying to please the old man, make him proud, and hopefully this is it.
Yeah.
And you also reflect on all the hard work and decisions that you made to get yourself at that point, and then realizing as well it's only the start of that journey as well. And I think one thing making a team is another thing staying there, and which was tough at the time because there were so many great players, legends of the game that were still around, and being able to break through was pretty special for me and my family.
Yeah. Did your old man ever talk to you about it, or?
Yeah, I think he did. Obviously he went through his journey as well. He didn't know any better, but I think him realizing that his kids are doing well, I think he finally said, "Proud of you, son." And still remember the first time he said, "Love you, son." Because up to that point, a grown man then, never heard dad say, "Love you, son." So that's why now, like I have my son now, I can't say love you, Teddy, enough because never had that.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very, very, very special moment when he did, articulate the way he felt. But at the same time as well, it was tough because I didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
It was so foreign to me. But the fact that he said it was very, very special, and it took me a while to get my head around it.
Yeah. All right, so cool. And did you feel the pressure of being an All Black? Did you feel the weight of expectation wearing that black jersey?
I mean, there's always pressure.
Yeah.
I think, but I think that's one thing you learn when you get there is embracing that pressure, and that's where you thrive. Obviously, it was so competitive at that time that I couldn't stay on and be an All Black for a long time because Ma'a and Conrad were there.
Yeah.
Legends of the game, good friends. I know them really well, and we always catch up. And that also, for me, that those boys made me a better player as well because I was trying so hard to make the All Blacks. Made it in 2006 again, but up to that point, those guys were so good together in the All Blacks. Obviously, we still beat them.
Yeah.
We still beat them. Crusaders versus them, the Hurricanes, those two. But when they were in the All Blacks, they were just gun. They were just so good together. And it made me a better player because I was so obsessed with trying to get back there, and I wouldn't go on holiday for a 4-week break.
Oh yeah.
I would join a athletics club, and I would do athletics,
Yeah.
and just to try and do everything to make sure that I can be the best for the next season to try and make the All Blacks that year. I was studying a lot of the NFL guys. I was watching a lot of Adrian Peterson. He was the running back for the Vikings. I was studying what he does, his training on YouTube. Yes, we did have YouTube. No social media, but we had cell phones and YouTube, so not that old. I would study the wide receivers for how their stance on when they take off.
Yeah.
So obviously the front foot with the two hands sort of hanging there, and I used that for when I was aligning on the defensive end when we were defending, and so I would always work hard on getting my alignment right, and then I will always set up like the wide receivers, front footing it and making sure I'm always my way was always forward, ready to get off the line. So yeah, I was obsessed because I no matter how well I played, I just couldn't make the All Blacks. And fair enough, like you give credit where credit is due, and they're absolute legends, and that's what I did.
And is that why you moved overseas? Because you'd given it everything you possibly could, and you still felt like, I'm not going to make this team again.
Yeah, and I think mentally it was tough as well.
Yeah.
I didn't read the newspaper or watch the news. I was just more focused on what I was doing to try and protect myself from disappointment.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's the right way to go about it, but that's all I knew, and that's why I think every time I went to training, I always had something to prove. And also, I think that also helped me cementing my spot in the time I was in the Crusaders, because of that hunger to try and get that 13 jersey back. But again, those two were so good. Fair play.
Well, it's cool. You've still got so much respect for them, and there's no hard feelings there. It's you gave it everything you could. You realised it wasn't good enough. They had a combination, and you just made the most of what you could do and moved over to Cardiff.
Yeah, moved to Cardiff, and took the family there. And
was it always Cardiff? Was that the option?
Do you know, Cardiff, the three clubs that offered me a contract were Cardiff, Munster and Racing.
Oh, true.
And I ended up
you went, I'll go 2 years, 2 years, 2 years. I'll do all of you.
But when I got injured, I broke my arm in 2009. That's why I left. Out of those three clubs, the only coach that called me when I was injured was the Cardiff coach.
Oh, yeah.
And again, goes back to that care side of any culture, and that was it. And the Cardiff contract was nowhere near close to the Racing or the Munster one.
Financially, was it?
No,
the lowest. Far out. That's cool.
They were so low. Even when they came up, they were still so low compared to the others. The fact that the coach called me was everything, because I'm in the culture of care.
Yeah.
And being in the Crusaders, you look after each other.
Yeah.
You keep turning up, doing your thing. You're gonna be fine.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that was it. That's why I went to Cardiff. And I said, look, obviously you guys are well off in what you're offering, but if you come up, to this amount, he'll come to you guys.
Yeah,
that's what my manager said, and that's what happened. And I went there.
Yeah. Far out.
Yeah. This is why it's very, very important to
good lesson for coaches.
Keep checking in on people, because that's the, that could be the point of difference.
Goes a long way. And how'd you find it when you got over there?
Very, very different.
Yeah.
But I got some good advice before I left. That you just focus on just don't say much. Just go there and do your thing, and earn the respect. And then if they ask, you give them advice, but never try and go there and tell them, oh, well, the Crusaders do it this way.
Yeah.
You know, because they do it their way. It could be very different, could be very, very much harder to win games, but it wins games. It wins, you know, games. And once you know that even if they don't do it the way we do it here, they still win games by doing that.
Yeah.
And once you realize that, you'll be fine. And I knew that right from the start, so it was easy.
Yeah, and you had a lot of success overseas, didn't you? Like success with Cardiff, Munster and Racing.
Yeah, I think success in drinking as well.
Did you notice a big difference in the drinking cultures?
Yeah, I mean, it was different. You know, we were stuck in our bubble here.
Yeah.
Especially at that time, like New Zealand rugby was so dominant in the world that none of us would watch any of the European games, and we'll tour, and they said, oh yeah, this guy, he has played 50 games for Wales, he's 50 games for England, and you're like, oh, okay.
Never heard of you.
Never heard of him, and we don't care. Like subconsciously, I think we, you know, like, because we don't like, why would we watch someone that, you know, not in, you know, we're never like that, but you know, I just remember that we would never ever watch any of the European games. We don't care, and because South Africa, us and Australia were setting the standard at the time, and obviously it's very, very different now. We watch a lot of their stuff because you know, the way they play. But that was it back then.
Yeah, interesting. So then, why'd you move to Munster?
Went through a financial difficulty in the club did, and so Munster came in and offered me a really good contract, and so I went there and loved the Irish too. You know, such a great time. I mean, the family loved Cardiff. Yeah, it was great. Still keep in touch with my boys over there, even in Munster. But then you go to Munster as well, and you're like, oh, you hear a lot of the Irish can drink. And you're like, yeah. And you get there, and you're like, wow, these boys can drink. But they got good crack as well, as they say over there.
Yeah.
It's good crack, like. And such good experience.
Did you have 3 kids at this time?
No, so my first one was born in New Zealand before we left. She was just, I think, 15 months.
Yeah.
And then we had our second one in Munster.
Oh, yeah.
And then my boy Teddy Theodore was born in Paris, so he's the true Parisian of the family.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
And then I did my 2 years, and obviously in Munster, and then Racing came into the party, and it was hard to say no, so I went to Racing, and obviously it was in Paris as well, and that was an awesome experience.
Yeah, what was the difference there?
The French. Culturally very, very different.
Yeah.
They just do things differently. You know, it wouldn't resonate with us, but that's how they do things. Like I said before, like it's a different way of doing things. It might be the harder way, but they look at us and they might think that what we're doing is much harder. So it's like, it's just respecting each other's environment and how they do things. And when I got there, and you sort of learn the different way of the way they think and the way they motivate the boys, whereas we're driven more of, obviously the culture's there, but then it becomes about pride in your work.
Yeah.
And that's what teaches you in this environment. It's like, you don't need any motivation or the culture, because you know yourself so well that it becomes the pride that you have in your work every day. So so that's what happened when I got there, and I was experienced enough to get on with my things and just try and fit into what they do. And obviously it was easier because I didn't speak French at the time, I just carried on playing well, and we had really good success there as well when Ali and Dan turned up there, which was also dangerous.
Because you won the comp that year, didn't you?
Yeah, we won the comp there. Yeah,
Was that the year Ross Filippo came over?
Floss.
Was it? Yeah.
Hey, Floss. Shout out to my man, Floss.
That's a dangerous foreign crew, Floss, DC, and
Yeah,
Ali.
we won't go into details, but we had a really good time.
Yeah.
Almost too good, and we still talk about it now. And yeah, wow.
And you did fully immerse yourself into the French culture, like you said. Like you became fluent in French pretty quickly.
Well, fluent is for foreigner, and also had to be fluent because I was coaching the French teams and delivering the messages in French.
Oh yeah,
and translating for the other French coaches that can't speak English to the foreigners. So yeah, I think it got to the point where my English suffered because I only spoke French for, especially when I went down to Toulon, I just spoke French the whole day. No one spoke English unless I'm speaking to the foreign boys. Yeah.
So you went to Toulon as a coach, was it?
Yep. Yeah. So I finished up in 2018. I started coaching racing in 2018. I did skills first, and then by halfway through the year, I ended up coaching the attack with helping out with the attack.
Was that always your passion? Was that always the thing you thought you'd go to post footy?
No, not really. Well, yes, at the time, I think it was because even when I was playing in racing, the coach at the time would make me take some of the drills, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought I can make this a sort of pathway for me after rugby. And obviously I got injured that year, and then he said, you can come and coach with me. And I was like, oh, okay. So I stayed there, coached with him, and then he ended up coaching the French team. So he was the French attack coach for up until the World Cup, the last World Cup. So he sort of changed the way the French played. And and I couldn't stay on because I was such a young coach and obviously not French. So they got someone that's more experienced. And then the Toulon coach came up and said, why don't you come down and help out down in Toulon? So I went down there and ended up coaching the attack, which was awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a quick transition.
Yeah, and I didn't have any structures in place because I just taught I was doing everything just from experience, and I didn't know how to structure anything. Well, I did in some extent, but I was just overloading my work because I was just trying to do everything all at once. But I always remember what Robbie Dean said, take the session that you've planned, half it, and then you half it again. And that's what you deliver to the boys. Yeah. So I knew that, but I just didn't. I had almost confused myself because I had so much experience and knowledge that I wanted to get through to the boys, and I think that was the pressure I felt. But I ended up making it really, really simple for them.
How long were you at Toulon coaching?
It was only for 1 year before COVID hit.
Oh, COVID hit.
COVID hit, and then that's why we came back here. But before that, I got in a fight with the coach.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I got in a fight with the coach, and I don't know if I should be saying that, but yeah, well, I'm not in rugby anymore. Got to find the coach. He wanted to take over the attack that day, and obviously we got into disagreement. And obviously, being a young coach, I didn't know my place. And obviously, you don't take shit from people, and we just got into an argument, and I remember he he snapped his computer in front of me. Like again, like that French passion as well. And that was it. After that, it was COVID. Kind of happened at the right time.
Yeah,
like was pissed off.
You're ready to get out.
Pissed off. He fired me, so I got fired.
Was it a full-on punch fight or just argument?
I was close.
Yeah. Once he snapped the computer, it was almost.
Yeah. But I also knew then I was going to be. That was done.
Yeah.
But man, a lot of the coaching game is not easy. So heads up to you, boys.
But you come back and then start coaching with Canterbury.
Yeah, I started, but I think my heart wasn't in it as well. But I was so thankful to Angus for giving me the opportunity anyway, and Marty and those guys. Obviously, Marty's gone on now and carrying on with the team. And but I knew straight away after that season, because I didn't really do much anyway with the attack or whatever we were doing. I was just doing some launches from scrum and a bit of this, bit of that, and so I didn't really feel like I had much. That was just my role, but also I think it took me a while to understand how things are done in New Zealand as well. It's very, very different compared to what I was used to in coaching wise in France. So from that, I just let's get into real estate.
And was real estate always a passion? Or
no, that's the thing. But remember, we're so trained when we were playing that you get on with things. Let's not complain about it. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And it's the same mentality when the coaching part wasn't for me, and I was like, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And obviously, real estate was there because Canterbury as main sponsor, even now as Ray White, and I had a conversation with them, and next thing you know, I was doing my papers, and then made the switch to Harcourt's Gold, and now I'm there, happy and just doing my thing and building my brand as well.
Yeah.
Still use the same values that I did with in rugby. Obviously, team always comes first, no matter what, and no matter how hard it is for a coach telling you not playing this week, you just know as a player that he's making the decision based on that the team always comes first. So for me now in real estate, it's the brand always comes first. I'm starting to learn how to do things in this field because it's very, very different, but same principle. If you want to grow a team or become a well-known brand, so and that's the exciting thing, is building something on how I see it from using the rugby values and knowing that you just have to do your time, be consistent, and good things will happen. And we always say, the harder you work, the luckier we get. So.
Yeah. Well, I think real estate is the ultimate for that too, isn't it? Because it's commission based, and as soon as you take your foot off the pedal, you're not bringing in the income. Yeah,
100%. And you can work for days on end or weeks on end without not seeing anything, but it's those little things you keep doing that will, some out of nowhere in 1 week, they can all happen.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so. But again, in real estate as well, like you don't have a structure like we did in rugby. Like you knew exactly what you're going to do on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, everything. We travel. The manager's got the itinerary. You got to be at the airport. We don't even take our passport. You hand it to them. Yes, we are so spoiled in rugby. So you lose that structure in a way because that's all done for us. And so now all of a sudden in the real world, it's very, very different. So that's what I've been working on, is trying to have these structures in place, so it allows me to keep growing and get better, and making sure that you don't drop the bat on things that's important in real estate. And it's the simple things, and it's like rugby, it's simple things done well. It's just, similar to to real estate. You know, you do the simple things well, you know, you will get growth, and that's making your calls and meeting up with people and do what you say you're going to do. And yeah.
You are right on. That's so good. And like you've been doing it, what, 3 years now? Is it?
Yeah.
3 years?
This is going into my third spring.
Yeah.
And again, I feel like looking back now, the first 2 years was preparing me for the third year, and I know going on from here, I can see the difference. People know me as a real estate guy now instead of, the rugby guy. They still talk to me about rugby, but again, the question will always, what's the market is doing? And it's fun when you hear that.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really enjoying it. And again, the mindset is always the same. As you know, when we play, and it's like every game, every season, you want to leave your mark.
Yeah.
And if you combine that, by the end of your career, you can look back and say, I've left my mark in rugby. Again, now I'm in real estate, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Now I want to keep growing this and leaving my mark in real estate. And me just talking now, just thinking back, just having the real purpose in what you do, it's so important, you know. And I think now that I've got kids, it's even more important to have that, you know, those anchors or those pillars we say in place, because when it gets tough, because real estate is really, really tough, that those will hold you up in those tough times, and you just gotta keep moving forward. Yeah. So I'm telling now, hey, so if you wanna,
yeah,
sell
you're
a house,
to sell or buy, everyone knows where to come. Jeez, your sales are going to be going through the roof after this.
Yeah, you get a referral.
Just say
Give
what a lad.
referral.
Oh, that's cool though. So, man, you've got the right mindset for it. Like, there's no doubt you're going to be very, very successful in this industry. So it's exciting, man. It's exciting to see where you end up.
Yeah, and you try and stay, where your feet are, and because at the end of the day, there's no secret to anything, and I think that I keep telling that, keep telling myself that every day, and but yeah, I'm so excited. I think for me, my kids is more important. My family, especially at the age that they're in at the moment. So even though I speak of real estate now, but everyone knows that the kids always comes first, because before you know it, my oldest daughter, she's 16 now. Yeah. And they're doing well, and they're happy. They're happy with their mum as well. I think just having two active parents is so important, and just keep it simple.
Yeah. Man. Oh, this has been one of the greats. No. You've been on absolute fire. But we have gone to the questions, because there's been a few questions come in, a couple about property too. So we'll race through a few of these. But first one, is it a good time to buy a 3-bed, 2-bath in Christchurch?
Oh, put me on the spot here. It depends on what your goal is. I think it's more your budget. Well, first of all, before you buy anything, then you go and see a mortgage advisor. They'll give you how much you can borrow up to, and from then on, you're better off just sort of sitting down and having a meeting with myself, or if you don't have anyone that you're working with, I'm more than happy to help out. And then write those goals down, where exactly you want to live, because schools is a big thing that comes into play. Yeah. And obviously when you're in those school zones, the price jumps up as well. Yeah. So, it's not just an easy question.
There's a bit to it.
There's a bit to it.
But the market is... Where's the market at the moment?
The market is really fair at the moment. What I mean by that is there is still a lot of listing coming in. Yeah. And more listings than sale. So again, the buyers have more options to choose from.
Yeah.
Which is why, if you're an owner, you have to do a little bit how to present your house, present it well so that, because again, more listings, that means more buyers as well to buy, because they'll have to find somewhere to live. So that's why it's so important for the owners to present their house really, really well.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're always going to get, a top dollar. And again, with the OCR coming down and interest rate coming down as well, there is confidence in the market. But again, it'll take about 12 months to anything, to anything to happen. But again, it's just having that confidence and seeing that things are pulling back as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really fair in that way, because first of all, you have buyers that are wanting to buy, and obviously owners that wanting to move on, downsize, or going to retirement homes, and that's what we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah, mate, you're a wizard. You love it.
No.
Absolute passion there about the property market. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. My manager might give me a different.
What was your most memorable hit? You obviously had some big ones, but this guy I reckon might have been a hit on Nonu.
Man.
Did you smoke Ma'a?
Yeah. Ah, man. It's my uso. It's hard for me to talk about these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because but those are the battles I did make a good tackle on Ma'a.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard for me to talk about this because again, like now it's more than rugby now for me and those boys. But yeah, at that time, the heat of the moment, and Ma'a, as chirping away at us, and it goes back to your role in your team, and I just made a read from outside in at Jade Stadium, and got him good. And I know that Mars got me good a lot of times as well. But that time there was it really got us up because the tails were up, and we needed that one that one play to bring everyone up. So
mate, there's a lot of tackles which you were on the right end of it. I remember one on Owen Farrell as well. I don't know. You're playing for the Barbers.
Yeah.
Absolutely smoked him outside in.
Sorry, Russell.
But what about this one? Do you remember the Digby Ioane spear tackle? Yeah. This was when you're on the receiving end.
He's my cousin too.
Is he?
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Well, second cousin.
Yeah.
His grandma and my granddad are brother and sister.
Oh,
so very close to home. But, it was in Brisbane, and man, I thought I broke my neck.
Did you?
Yeah, because I was in the tackle and I was looking to offload, and next thing you know, my head was hit the ground. It happened so quick. Man, I was scared. Like I thought that was it.
Far out.
Yeah.
What was it in the end?
Oh, I think just nerves.
Yeah. Okay.
It was numb, like the initial numbness that you get from an impact like that straight away.
Scary, eh?
Yeah, very,
how
very
quickly
scary.
it can all be taken away.
Because I can remember it now, like just standing there looking for an offload, somebody to run off and get rid of the ball, and the next thing you know, my head was in the ground.
Far out.
Yeah.
Well, you got through it. Okay, hardest. He's one of the hardest hitters ever. Who hit harder, you or Sam Tuitupo?
Sam. Hands down, Sam. Wow. I was fortunate enough to play through age groups with Sam, and I've never seen so many people get stretchered off. It's and if you see how tall Sam is, he's not that tall, but he's got muscles coming out of his back that you don't think exist. But I think the biggest thing for him was just timing.
Yeah.
Everything was timing, and Sam, hands down, because he was doing it since he was 10 years old.
You were on the tennis court.
Yeah, I was on the tennis court.
Serving aces.
Yeah. Watching Pete Sampras play, and the old man not thinking, oh, what is this kid doing?
Oh, good stuff. Okay, next one. What was your why?
Oh, my why now is obviously, I said before, my kids, and my family, and also I touched on that self pride. I think I'm so trained in a way that you don't need anything else other than, oh, did you really give your best at training that day? So now I'm I want to leave a mark in real estate, my mark in real estate, and that's my wise. Keeping it simple, my kids, and obviously pride in my work.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That is very nice. Okay, next one. What is the circumference of your massive biceps? Have you always had massive?
Some of the boys are asking that. I know some of the boys. No idea.
Have you been known for your guns?
No, not at all.
Really?
Yeah. I know Brad Thorne will have something to say about that. I caught up with him the other day, and the first thing came out of his mouth was, "Oh, remember that time we boxing? You know, when I was getting laid into, when I was laying into you." It was like, oh, typical Thorny. But Thorny's got the biceps, and I don't have biceps.
Oh,
in there.
That looks pretty tight. Okay, next one. 2 to go. Which player did you enjoy playing with the most?
Oh, there's a lot of them. Obviously, I start off here in Canterbury Crusaders. I love playing with, obviously, Dan used to put it on the spot for me, and he knows that. Just hit me on the M2 on the outline.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that, and also the 1-3 cut that I scored the try. I think you enjoy playing with guys that knows their game really, really well, and makes the game easier for you to play. And that's why I choose Dan.
Yeah.
And obviously Aaron in the middle, inside as well, was such, because he was a first 5 as well. So he plays the game. He gets a good balance of the game. And I end up naming all the boys.
Everyone you ever played with.
Yeah. Because I think it goes back to my point that if you're part of any good team, you know that everyone does their job really, really well, which allows you to focus on your core role. I knew my core role when I was playing, and that's to footwork, tackle hard, and get the boys going forward. I used to be a kicker at school.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I used to be a goal kicker at First 15.
Oh, true.
But when I came down here, I had to put that one away because Mertz was here.
Yeah.
You have DC coming up, and obviously Aaron. I was like, why do you need it? And then obviously Leon McDonald at the back.
Yeah.
Why do you need another kicker?
7th choice.
So I knew straight away. I knew from the moment I got here, or even when I was in pro rugby, that I put the kicking boots away.
Yeah.
Leon McDonald, Rangi.
Yeah.
What a player.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's gone to the top. He's overtaken. Or is it just all of them?
No. I think shout out to Rangi and because again,
And you had some backline, and you all worked so well together, all know each other's strengths. Like you obviously took the bulk of the carry work because Aaron and DC were a bit smaller, and
because
finishers,
we had a
creators.
and that's the thing. Like I knew when to you know this very well. When you're running a move, it's like, oh, what's your role in this move? Are you a penetrator?
Yeah.
Or are you a distributor? And you break it down in my head at that time. It's like, okay, well, first of all, you're distributing here. If it presents, then you become a penetrator. And these guys made it really, really, really easy. Again, when you have, breath horn in there. Can I tell a story?
Yeah, of course you can. That's what you're here for.
I didn't even tell a story yet. Anyway, I came down from counties, and I think it was the pre-season of the Crusaders, and I was rooming with Rangi.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Rangi remembers this story. Anyway, we had our pre-match meal, and I had a big meal then as well. I didn't know at that time, didn't control because I was young, you can go out and do your thing. But I had a massive feed anyway. I was sitting in the room, chilling out with Rangi, and I was like, far out, I need to go for a big dump. Anyway, went in had a big dump, and it stunk. And it stunk so bad. So anyway, I thought, being a young fella and trying to be respectful, I'll spray with deodorant the toilet. So I put the toilet seat down. For some reason in my head, instead of spraying the room, I'll just open up the toilet seat and spraying inside that. So that would straight away will eliminate the smell. Not a word of lie. Don't recommend it. Not a word of lie. Honestly, there is a reaction between deodorant and shite. That 10x's the smell. Honestly, it got so bad. Like even myself, I couldn't handle it. And then the thought of coming out of the room and hoping that Rangi is not in disgust of what just happened. So that scared kid of coming out of the room. And anyway, open the room and Rangi was on his seat. So because I was thinking, if I can't handle it, imagine if it got out. And fair enough, I'd still remember his face. I still remember his face when I was like, he just couldn't believe how bad it was. I was like, oh, like, what the hell is that, Case? Anyway, it's like a beat up dog with his tail between his legs coming out, and obviously I had to play well to earn his respect. To earn his respect back after that debacle in the toilet. But yeah, the lesson is do not mix deodorant with shite.
And go down to the lobby to do your shite.
So, well, man. That was crazy.
Oh, that's so funny. Any more stories?
No. These are our team stories, but it's always the funny broomy ones that Oh, David Hill was another one. David was such a nice person. Meeting him and then rooming with him, and I just went out with my girlfriend at the time, and obviously go through the honeymoon stage. Yeah. And I was chatted to her at night time. It's like, oh yeah, I miss you. And he was like, shh. I was like, oh, okay. So carry on. Here I am in the. It's like, oh no, you hang up. No, and he just went, shh. I was like, oh. Anyway, here I am in the pillow going, yeah, no, we hang up one at the count of three, okay. Hilly was just wasn't happy at all, and you thought he can do that, but not with the older guys. Hey, it's just you just go in there, do your thing, but don't talk. Whisper to your new girlfriend when you're with an older player. So.
Oh, the joys, good times, eh?
Yeah.
They're all the memories that you remember, eh? When at the end of your career.
Think about it. Now you made me think about that because it was like, oh, do you have any stories? And it's like, oh my goodness, I know team stories that are, it won't be appropriate, but
couple of classics,
ones. But yeah, Rangi, sorry, mate. I don't think he remembers it. I hope he doesn't remember it.
He definitely will remember it.
Right, deodorant and shite don't go together. 10x is the smell.
Good bit of advice to finish. But that is what we will finish with, is one piece of advice you have for a Waterland listener. So,
I mean, we hear it all the time. I think if you do something that you love and you enjoy it, you pursue that. But just remember that no one will hand it to you. You just got to put in the work, and it's the combination of those little things every day to be consistent with that will all be worth it at the end when it all comes together. But, do something that you love, that you're passionate about, and as the cliche as it is, but it's so true that you don't have to work a day in your life. So, and that's coming from me in my story, because I'm so thankful that I'm doing real estate. It doesn't feel like work for me, and some people don't get the opportunity to do two things in their lifetime. Obviously, rugby first, and then now real estate. But if you haven't found that, just keep that curiosity, keep pushing yourself until you finally get there. And then once you get there, then you know what it feels like. And yeah, there is no secret.
wow. That was so good.
Did I just drop the mood like that?
Just brought the tone right down. And
that.
wow, that was powerful. You went right into the zone of advice, and from someone who hasn't worked a day in his life and has done so much stuff, Crusaders, All Blacks, all the success overseas, now killing it in the property market. And if you are out there listening in Christchurch, make sure you go see the big man, and he'll have a good deal for you. For sure. But, mate, really appreciate you coming on, man. What a journey, what a story. It's been so good to sit down with you and go through your career, and excited with what's next for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate reminiscing about all the time, and honestly, what you're doing. You offer so much to everyone, and hopefully, they can take away something from today. But keep up the great work. I love what you're doing.
Oh, you're a lad.